A hard-working mechanic who sacrificed everything for his younger brother. A student who demanded more than love could give. And a mother caught between the truth and the children she's trying to save. When Andrew finally breaks under the weight of years of pressure and exposes Matthew's reckless spending, the family falls apart. Months later, their mother desperately tries to reunite them. But old wounds cut deep, and forgiveness isn't easy. A story about loyalty, betrayal, and the painful journey of becoming brothers again. Love Stories Max. Welcome to my channel. Enjoy watching, friends. I always believed that being the older brother meant carrying the weight of the house on your shoulders. When our father left and Mom tried to pretend everything was fine, I decided I would do everything so Matthew wouldn't feel the pain I had felt. He was only 13 when I got my first after-school job, washing cars in a parking lot, just so he could go on his first class trip. I remember his smile. It made every drop of exhaustion feel worth it. Later, I became an auto mechanic. Hard work, dirty work. My hands always covered in grease, my back aching like I was twice my age. But the money was stable, and I kept telling myself I was doing it for Matthew. Let him study, let him become someone. Let him become what I never could. Mom was proud of him. I was proud, too. For a while, the first years of his studies went quietly. He called me once a week, talked about classes, about his dream to become a lawyer. I was proud of him, even when I had to skip lunch to send him some extra money. The textbooks are expensive, bro. Okay, if he needed it, he needed it. But later the calls changed. Classes turned into parties. Textbooks turned into important meetings. And the requests for money turned into demands. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Young people go through that. But his requests became stranger. Bro, need 200 tonight, we're getting a table at the club. I'm embarrassed to wear the same clothes, send at least 300. If you want me to look normal at class, I need 150 for the barber. I read those messages during lunch breaks, sitting in the cold garage that smelled like metal and burnt oil. And something inside me slowly cracked. I stayed silent. I didn't want Mom to worry. I kept thinking I was doing the right thing. Until one day I realized I couldn't remember the last time I bought myself new clothes. Or slept without pain. Or felt any happiness. And still, I kept sending him money. Because he was my brother. That day began like any other. I came to Mom's house after a long shift, tired, hungry, wanting some quiet. Instead, I heard, "Andrew, Matthew texted me. Why did you refuse? He said he needs money for study materials. He's studying, after all." I sat quietly at the table. I didn't want this conflict. You promised to support him. He needs to finish his degree. My teeth clenched. I had sacrificed years of my life. And now I was being guilt-tripped. "Mom," I said calmly, "he's not asking for study materials." And what is he asking for? Something inside me finally snapped. I got up, went to my room, and returned with a thick folder. I hated doing this, but they pushed me into a corner. I put it on the table. "Here," I said, "his materials." Receipts spilled out like autumn leaves. Restaurants, clubs, barber shops, Sporting goods, rented suits, weekend trips, and some charges I still couldn't understand. Mom picked up one receipt, then another. Her face went pale. "What is this?" she whispered. "This," I said quietly, "is what I've been working for these past 3 years. What Matthew calls studying." At that moment, Matthew appeared in the doorway. I didn't know how long he'd been listening, but his face was red with anger. "Traitor," he shouted. "You want to make me look lazy? Because of you, I won't finish my degree. Because of you." I stared at him, wondering if this was really the same boy I used to carry on my shoulders on his first day of school. Mom said something. Matthew yelled back, but I didn't hear them anymore. My mind whispered only one thing. I can't live like this anymore. I stood up, put on my jacket. "I'm leaving," I said simply. "Where?" Mom's voice trembled. "To live my own life," I answered. And I walked out. I rented a small apartment near the shop. Nothing special. Just a table, a bed, a stove, and silence. Silence I hadn't heard in years. I started saving money, for myself, for the first time. I slept better, even though guilt sometimes weighed on me. But I knew it was necessary. Matthew never wrote. All I heard from others was that he blames me for ruining his life. Ruined? Maybe. But I couldn't keep living with one foot in the garage and the other in his nightclubs. I loved him. I still love him. But love shouldn't turn you into an ATM. And if he ever understands that, I'll be there. Not as his wallet, as his brother. For now, I'm finally learning to value myself. For the first time in years, I'm living, not carrying someone else's life on my back. 3 months passed since I walked out of that house. 3 long, quiet, heavy months. Work filled most of my time, thank God. When your hands are busy, your mind thinks less. But every night, when I came home to my tiny rented apartment, the emptiness washed over me. Not because I regretted leaving. I didn't. I knew I had done the right thing. The emptiness came from knowing that my family had fallen apart, and it felt like it happened on my watch. One evening Mom texted, "Andrew, we need to talk. Please come home." I stared at that short message. There was no blame in it. No anger. Just exhaustion and pain. I came the next day. The road to the old house felt longer than I remembered. The house looked the same, old fence, squeaky gate, the windows I painted last summer. But something was different. Something heavy hung in the air. Mom opened the door. She looked thinner. "Andrew," she whispered and hugged me. "I missed you so much." I missed her, too. But I didn't know how to say it. We sat down in the kitchen. Her hands were trembling. "I want you and Matthew to talk," she said gently. "You're brothers. You've always been together." My chest tightened. "Mom," I said softly, "I don't mind talking. But he hates me." "He doesn't hate you," she insisted. "He's angry, confused, hurt. He thinks you abandoned him."
El quindel pianeta tierra e una anomalia molto pericolosa. Se lo ведет скапать.
He stood in the kitchen doorway, tall, angry, cold. His eyes full of bitterness. His smirk, like a challenge. "We're not fighting," Mom said quickly. "Sit down. Both of you." We did. But I already knew this wouldn't be easy. Matthew started immediately. "You abandoned us. You disappeared. Because of you, I lost a whole year of school. Because of me? I laughed bitterly. Really? Yes, he snapped. You promised to help me. To help with your studies, not your clubs, not your drinking, not your shopping sprees. I'm young. I wanted to live normally. Normal? I raised an eyebrow. Normal people don't treat their brother like a credit card. He stood up abruptly. I'm not your slave. I'm not gonna be like you, a mechanic working himself into the grave. His words hit hard. Mom gasped. But I stayed silent. Because the truth hurts less when you've already lived it. You think I'm dragging you down? I finally said. No, Matthew. I just stopped letting you drag me down. Oh, so now you're the victim? He sneered. You left me and Mom, and now you want pity? I left because you were destroying me. I yelled for the first time. You drained me until there was nothing left. Mom burst into tears. We both fell silent. Matthew turned away, his jaw trembling. He finally muttered, you ruined my dream. No, I said quietly, you ruined it yourself. He knew it. He hated hearing it. But it was the truth. Matthew stormed out of the kitchen, slamming the door so hard the glasses rattled. Mom moved to run after him, but I stopped her gently. Don't. Let him cool off, she cried into her hands. I just want you two to be a family again. I placed my hand on her shoulder. We will be, I said softly. But not today. He needs time to face the truth. And I need time to forgive. It won't happen overnight, maybe not even in a year. But I believe that someday we'll sit at this table again. Not as enemies, not as burdens, not as victims. But as brothers.